Hello and welcome back to HR Horrors. I'm George Akel and today we're looking at the situation of Quid Pro Quo Joe. Joe was a recruiter, head of talent acquisition for a large organisation. This organisation was on a growth path and was doing a lot of recruitment. Although the organisation had selected 3 different recruiters to use for filling in their roles, Joe seemed to use one exclusively. Anyway, the counterparty at the other organisation that Joe had used left and they brought in a new person to come in and meet Joe to introduce him to Joe and to the organisation and to get a feel of what the needs were. As it turned out, Joe approached this individual in that meeting and asked about the kickback arrangement that he had with the previous guy. Now, this new recruiter went straight back to his office, notified his head, and they got in touch with the organisation that Joe worked for. Both organisations were shocked because it wasn't part of their cultural DNA. They were good, wholesome organisations, and they were alarmed that 2 individuals should be contributing to such an underhanded process in place. Joe was interviewed immediately, admitted to his crime and resigned on the spot. Now, there are lessons to be learned from this. The first one is, when you are selecting a vendor, you should have a selection committee and a selection process. And you must appraise each of the vendors on their merits, not on what they give you in the form of tickets to the tennis or the ballet or the rugby or the opera, whatever it may be. Okay, so you need to have a good, robust review and a great selection criteria. Secondly, once you appoint them, you should always be having regular review meetings, measuring them against their KPIs that have been agreed to, measuring them against issues that have been raised. So on a monthly or a quarterly basis, you consolidate the issues that have been raised by your organisation and you take it up with them directly to talk through and get an understanding where these issues have come from and what remediation action has been taken. Thirdly, you should have one-to-one, face-to-face meetings on a bi-weekly, bi-monthly basis, depending on the volumes that are being processed, to eyeball the individuals and talk to them and get a feel for what's going on there and to get a feel whether they're still the right people for you. Now, there was a couple of red flags in this situation that the organisation should have been alert to. First of all, that a substandard performing vendor was tolerated and was accepted and was defended, in this case by Joe. When you have poor performance, where you have regular negative feedback by your organisation, by your staff, in respect to a vendor, and someone continues to defend them, well, you need to look into it. Maybe the defence is justified. Maybe it's not. For example, in the case of Joe. Joe tolerated that and defended that because he knew as long as he kept that pipeline pumping, Joe was getting benefits for it. At GOVERNHR, we've had extensive experience in vendor selection, vendor review, and vendor management. So if you like this video, please click the like below, subscribe so you get the latest videos, check out our website and arrange for your free HR health check. We can go through your entire HR function end to end, or we can look at specific areas that you'd like. Anyway, thank you for listening and goodbye. Cheers.